You ever have that situation where you launch a performance max campaign or a search campaign and nothing hits? I can't tell you how many times I've gone through the same exact situation where I spent hours and days working through my product feed, my campaign strategy, my ad copies, and everything in between. And although I thought that it was actually very solid and was supposed to work, nothing ever ended up happening. And this used to really frustrate me back in the day until I realized that one key thing, that one missing link, so to speak, that was causing this to happen over and over again. And that one problem which was stopping me and my campaigns from actually reaching the next level, it wasn't the ad strategy, nor was it the products. Rather, it was the keyword research approach. So after spending now over 10,000 hours studying the Google Ads algorithm, how keywords work, I have perfected my keyword research strategy, and this is something that works for 95% of the e-commerce brands out there. So I can almost guarantee that this is probably going to work for your brand as well. But what I call this method is the reverse intent method. This is a method I developed myself, and it's a very simple method. It contains just about 4 different steps that you need to implement. This is something you can do or your team can do in terms of Google Ads. But for the sake of this example, what we're going to be doing to showcase this method is to be taking this major keyword, brown rug, into account. Let's assume we're trying to sell our brown rug or just a rug in general, and we're trying to conduct keyword research for this product. Now, the first step is something I already did, but you want to be starting with a general framework in mind of how can you describe your product that you're trying to sell. It should be a very broad approach to begin with. Now, when I say very broad, this doesn't mean you should go with the most broadest link possible. You want to go one level down. So instead of just going after the keyword rug, I went one level down and I categorized my brand and my product as a brown rug. I could have gone further, maybe said brown rug for bedroom, but that would be a little bit too specific. And for the first step, we want to keep it as broad as possible without it going into literally every possible keyword. But essentially, that's the first step. Basically, creating a general framework for the product in mind to search, because that brings us to step 2, and this is where the reverse method starts. Now, normally, what I would have recommended is that you immediately go over to the keyword planner tool, start searching over the different keywords and everything in between. However, there's another step now which you need to do before you use the keyword planner tool, and this is basically starting with the left-hand menu right here under refined results. The beautiful thing about the Google Ads algorithm and the platform in general is it has taken away the need for you to blindly guess which keywords you should be going after, because what it now does is it literally tells you everything that could potentially be ranking within your specific niche. And this is where the keyword research strategy actually begins. So instead of now just going after the keyword brown rug, you now understand that there's keywords where people are actually searching for things like specific patterns, things like specific features, whether your rug is washable, it's handmade, it's stain resistant, material, shape, color, so on and so forth. There's so many different now variations of different keywords that you could begin your keyword research from, and this is all based on real data of what people are actually searching for and what can potentially convert the most. So instead of now just going after a brown rug, if you, for example, sell a wool rug, you can now add in the keyword brown wool rug, and this is one of the major keywords which could be within your product titles and descriptions. But although we want to use this reverse intent method to get a general idea of what keywords people are searching for and what we should rank for, this is just a general framework of how we should approach the keyword research process, because now we need to move on to step 3, which is actually using keyword planner tool or nowadays ChatGPT to further help you with your keyword research journey. Now, for the sake of this example, I'm going to start with ChatGPT first before we actually go on over to the keyword planner tool. Now, key thing to keep in mind with ChatGPT, this is not a perfect tool for keyword research because a lot of the data values, at least when I'm recording this video, are missing from ChatGPT, meaning it cannot extract the numbers in terms of monthly searches and everything in between in a similar manner as the keyword planner tool could. So this is not to basically replace the keyword planner tool, but to actually use in addition to the keyword planner tool. But you can't just come in here and just start searching up random keywords. You have to train your ChatGPT algorithm to perform in a specific manner. And this is a very simple phrase that I tell ChatGPT before we actually begin the actual keyword research process, but I tell it to act as an e-commerce brand owner and Google Ads expert. You can further go on into telling it specific directions as to what you want it to do. So for instance, in this situation, what we can tell it is, I'm going to give you specific keywords for the products I sell. I want you to go into the market, do keyword research to find the most searched for keywords with high buying intent. This is crucial because you want to tell it high buying intent, not just education-based keywords. And once you press enter, now it's gonna tell you exactly how it's gonna act, and it's gonna tell you what all of these things that you can send it. So for instance, I'm just gonna basically send it the very basic thing, which is number one, the specific product keyword. So I'm gonna tell it I only have the specific keyword I want you to use as a template, and then you can tell it to find everything else on its own. Of course, I don't recommend this because again, it's a robot. It's better if you provide all the details, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to tell you that we want to search for the keyword brown rug. So as you can see, it started searching the web, and it's going to tell you high buying intent keywords that are transactional, commercial, informational, and so on and so forth, keyword modifiers, etc. So these are all ideal things, but again, this is to use as a template, not to fully trust it, because this should tell you some key ideas of what you can be searching for. So for example, if I was not really searching for or thinking about the keyword washable, the word washable, well, now I know that people are potentially searching for washable, and things such as brown rug stain resistance or brown rug polypropylene versus wool, so on and so forth. So we can maybe search up wool brown rugs, so on and so forth from there. But once you have a general idea from ChatGPT, and of course you want to go a bit more in depth into this, and by the way, I'm using the premium version of ChatGPT. This may not be as relevant with the free version, but from here, essentially going on to the keyword planner tool, now searching up the major keyword which you already had found, plus whatever you may have found from ChatGPT in your own research. So for instance, wool brown rug. And from here, we begin our keyword process. And of course, the beautiful thing about Keyword Planner tool is it actually gives you more ways to broaden your search. If I was not thinking about neutral rug keyword, or maybe wool rug or carpet or black rug, these are things that I can look into potentially adding. But the first thing I like to do in terms of keyword research for what I'm trying to basically rank for is I rank it by the most searches to the least searches. Of course, I want the keywords with the most search volume. But second, after that, I like to rank it and look at the year-over-year change. This is something most brand owners don't even know about, but you want to be looking at those specific keywords which have high monthly search volume but are increasing year-over-year. The last thing you want to do is be ranking for a keyword which is decreasing 21% or whatever percent it may be year over year. Now, if it's very minuscule, like 5%, 10%, that's fine. But anything above 10% decrease, that's not a good sign. That means that's a keyword you would want to avoid. But forget about the top of page bids. All of these things, they're irrelevant for at least shopping placements. But once you have a general idea of what's increasing and what's not, and not always will you find keywords which are increasing. I mean, in this situation, we see 0%. In this case, we might even go for maybe a brown carpet kind of approach versus just a brown rug approach. And then from here, we can go further, look at what's changing, what's not changing. You can also look at the 3-month change history to see what's a good keyword to rank for. But step after this, and this could be classified as step 5, is to essentially now go onto Google, search up every single keyword that has come up here that's relevant to what you are selling. So if you're trying to sell a brown wool rug, don't be ranking for or trying to search for red carpet or something like that, because it's irrelevant. It's going to cause the algorithm to not really pay attention to your ads nor give you a higher quality score. But now it's about actually searching up the keywords, figuring out what the competitors are for that keyword, number one. Number two, what is their approach for ads? I mean, here we see a very basic approach for majority of the competitors. It's a plain brown rug up and down, and none of them are really using a lifestyle image like Wayfair did here. So clearly, if I want to rank for this keyword, I better have a product feed approach, which is similar to Wayfair's right here. And then I'll also look at things like the product titles, what they did for the pricing, if they have reviews, promos, etc. And of course, do the opposite of the competition. It's all about, at that point, just figuring out the ideal strategy and doing the opposite of what they have already done. But that's the essential gist of how we do keyword research now for a lot of the brands we work with, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help still to the next level with Google Ads, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.